I have a limit. I have
So,
a I have a safety
the
limit.
one thing I can't stand as wet is bread.
Okay, let's get started. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, not gonna do that. All right, chat. Thank y'all for hanging out today, man. It's good to see you guys. Gonna have a fun one today for sure. Appreciate y'all for being here. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 261 of the Super Weapon Podcast, most overpowered podcast on the internet. It's your boy Darius Artist, and as always, I got my co-host DC here with me today.
It's your boy DC. I don't have any names today because we're about to get right into it, man. We got an action-packed episode today, and I'm kind of excited and I'm a little bit sad. I'm excited for the discourse. Like I love these type of topics. This is what I feel like the podcast is made for, to talk about these things. But
Happy
I am a person who
Saturday.
really cares, and I don't like to see just people in tough positions where they're losing their job, fired, laid off, resigned, whatever. So I hope when stuff like that happens to people that they do bounce back rather quickly, because it's tough out here, man. It's tough for everybody. Like, let's just be real. It's freaking tough out here for all of us. But we're gonna jump
Definitely.
into it today, man. I'm gonna let my bro host lead the way into this topic because I don't know which topic he wants to tackle first. So I'll just let him
I
jump
mean, there's
into it.
really only one that's probably gonna take up the entire show, to be quite honest.
Yeah, we actually had a list of things we wanted to
Yeah.
talk about, and then Xbox dropped that bomb.
Breaking news happened yesterday, but
I might drop this episode today.
yeah.
Matter of fact.
But happy Saturday to everybody first and foremost, man. Thank y'all for hanging out today. Hope you and everyone is doing well on this rainy Saturday as we, jump into another great episode, man. It's always good to be here. But man, oh man, I wouldn't say, I don't think it's being hyperbolic or facetious to say that this is probably the biggest news story in the last year or so for Xbox, outside
Yes,
of
sir.
the FTC trial, I would say. And if you guys haven't heard, there has been a changing of the guard at Xbox, specifically not Microsoft, at Xbox. Phil Spencer has stepped down effective Monday, the 23rd of February, if you guys are listening to this after that. And Sara Bond has also resigned effective immediately as of yesterday. You're talking about something that is, I would say this is pretty earth-shattering news, man. I was actually in disbelief. I don't know where you were when you read this,
Oh,
but
I was at work.
you
I think
know,
did I
oh yeah,
send it to you?
nah. Well, I saw it online. I sent it to you guys. I
We
thought
kind
it,
of sent it to each other, and we
yeah,
didn't.
I thought it was fake news at first, to be quite honest, until I started doing some digging on some more reputable sites.
Same.
That I frequent. And, before we talk about like the impact of all this and everything, I do want to give Phil Spencer his flowers, man. I mean, you're talking about somebody that's been
A real
at,
gamer.
yeah, somebody who's been at Microsoft for 38 years, started as an intern and rose all the way up to leadership, which is, I mean, you don't really see that often, man. Just like DC was saying beforehand, you have people that, the job market's tough, for just not just for gaming, but for people in general. I mean, hell, I just started a new job this past week. So, everyone's kind of feeling those effects of the economy. But he's somebody, took over Xbox in 2014 and, for better or for worse, a lot of people may not agree with a lot of his decisions. I certainly did not agree with everything that he's done, but I will admit that he pulled Xbox out of the gutter from where it was, to be quite honest. Because the Xbox One generation was probably the thing that led them to where they are today. If we're being quite honest, man, that was the turning point for everything. And, Phil, just like DC said, he's an actual gamer. You can check his gamer score online, actually, his Xbox gamer score, and it's probably higher than yours. I can almost guarantee you it is, because he's a true gamer. And you don't see that in the industry. It's funny to even say that out loud. Like, the executives of these companies, some of them don't play games as much, which is probably fair because they don't have time to. But
Yeah.
This is a big shakeup in the industry. Apparently, this has been something that he has been planning since last fall. In his letter, or his email to Xbox as a whole and to the team, this is something that he was moving towards. Sarah Bond's exit is a little bit more shaky in my mind, but we'll kind of get into all of that. But yeah, what are your initial just like thoughts about this, man? This is like I said, this is I thought it was bullshit at first, but it is unfortunately not. And we see another industry giant taking a step back from the industry, man.
Well, my thoughts on it is like everyone else initially, even the quote unquote, people who are not really fans of Xbox, so to speak.
Hmm.
Like I said, I've had a lot of good discourse, believe it or not, online, even with people who stand on the opposite side of Xbox. We were able to have some nice civil conversations, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are surprised. Like, we knew Phil was coming. The thing is, we knew that was coming. We just, I don't know. It was still a shocker, right? Even though
Yeah.
we kind of knew it was coming, his tenure here was coming to an end. It was still a shocker just to read that at work as I'm looking at the news cycle, because I mean, it was everywhere. It was literally everywhere. It's
Hmm.
not just in the world of games, right? You got business sites and stuff talking about it because it's really that big. So him leaving, it was like a sting, it was like a shock. But then I didn't see that part, right? I only saw him like leaving, and then you the one dropped a bomb on me about Sarah.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Because
Mm.
she was supposed to be up next.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of thoughts about this. A lot of people online tend to agree with me, actually. It was so peaceful online. Like, this is the weirdest shit ever. Usually, I thought I was going to get some pushback from people or whatever, or grifters, and nah, Xbox is burning. They lost the console war, blah. Surprisingly, the streets I was on the internet, people really wasn't having that kind of conversation. They was kind of like, yeah, you make sense. We kind of agree with that, because I feel like, this is just my thoughts. I feel like they was putting Sarah in a situation to lose. I don't
Mm.
think she was gonna. I think sooner or later they were gonna let her go because of the expectations and things at Xbox are a little far fetched. I think they're not really looking at it the way they're supposed to. I feel like you have a whole bunch of quote unquote corpo money people, right? Putting their hands in the pot of video games, which they don't understand. So I think there's a lot of weird expectations for Xbox, a lot of unreal expectations as far as profit margins and all that stuff, right? So I think Sarah was just like, you know what? I think she saw the writing on the wall and was like, I would rather leave on my own terms than to have to travel down this road of Mission Impossible and then possibly end up getting let go or fired. So I'm
Mm.
just gonna leave.
That's an interesting point. I think that's what this whole situation is just strange to me with regarding her in particular. Because if you go to Xbox's blog site or Microsoft's blog site, there's a blog for this news. There's a statement from Satya. There's a statement from Phil. There's a statement from the new president of Xbox. Her name is Asha Sharma, for those who are curious. We'll talk about her in a few. There's a statement from Matt Booty, who has been promoted, by the way, to be essentially her right hand. There's no statement from Sarah on this site, on the blog. She left a statement on her LinkedIn and she emailed her team, but there's no statement from her.
It's
Which,
like one life to live. This is drama filled.
yeah, which makes me think that there was some sort of change either coming or plans that may have been, her and Phil may have been not too excited about, then that and that's
Mm-hmm.
why she ended up leaving. According to her, this is something that she had been planning since last year as well. But I mean, only we won't know the truth. Obviously, we'll never hear the truth of the matter from her. Maybe 10, 20 years from now, maybe she writes a book or something. We'll find out why she truly left. But I always felt like personally, especially the last 5 or so years, that Phil and Xbox leadership have been fighting this uphill battle with Microsoft leadership, where we've talked about this, right? Like I think the
Yeah, I was
biggest
gonna say.
defining moment for Phil's tenure for me is going to be the Activision acquisition. I think that's what everyone's going to look back on and talk about, because that, I think, was truly the turning point for Xbox to where they are now with their everything's an Xbox mantra and mandate, even down to the hardware, which is essentially dead for this generation, in my opinion. Um, I just think it's very telling that there's a transition coming for Xbox, and it's especially telling that this happened during the 25th anniversary. This is the 25th anniversary year for Xbox. You know,
Ugh.
you would think that maybe Phil would have rode this year out. Maybe Phil and the team would have rode this year out and wanted to usher in a new era. At least that's what my mind would have been. I had it in the back of my head he was going to retire at the end of the year. He was never going to get fired. Like I said, he's been there almost 40 years. People like him don't get fired. They step down. They'll retire on their own. Because the first thing I thought of when I read this news is who's going to be on the stage at the showcase. Are they going to bring out the new president? Or is it gonna be Matt Booty? It's
Big booty.
Xbox has always taken this approach of this friendly approach with their audience, and hey, we're gamers too, right? And I look at Asha Sharma. For those of you guys who don't know, she was the head of AI core product, or core AI, I think is what it's called, at Microsoft. I did a little bit of digging on her. She doesn't have any gaming background, like working in games, as far as I can tell. And I wonder what kind of message that's going to send to the wider community, or you know what I mean, like, because she released a statement, along with the blog post, and it's very telling. At least it's interesting to me, because Xbox knows at this point that they have fucked up immensely with their hardware. They know that they have a lot of work to do to get back. I don't want to say get back in the good graces of gamers, because I still think Xbox still has a strong portfolio for the year. I mean, you got Fable, you got Forza Horizon 6 is supposed to come out this year. The Halo campaign, Evolve remake, and Gears of War E-Day, I think, are the 4 big ones that I can think of off the top of my head for games that are coming out this year for them. But I'm in agreement with you. I think there was just a differing of perspectives in where Xbox should go and where it is going. And Sarah probably didn't want to be a part of that anymore. Like I said, it's very telling that she doesn't have a blog message. Everyone else does, but her.
Got to keep it clean, because
Yeah.
you know how it is in corporate. Like, you don't want to be the one to bash a company. It's kind of like frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? You don't, like you said, it'll probably come out later, like in Sarah Bond's memoirs,
Yeah,
or something like that.
maybe.
But you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, because
Yeah.
who knows, in the future, it's a possibility, depending on how she left, she might be able to double back in a different position somewhere else in Microsoft. So you don't want to, go out in the blaze of glory, and you just
never burn a bridge, chat. Yeah, let that be a lesson to y'all too.
F them, because people are looking at that. Like, even future, there's somebody probably somewhere doing a Birdman hand rub, like, oh, Sarah's on the market. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we can use her. You know what I'm saying? Like, they probably like, yo, Sarah, like, let's see what she's up to. Let's see what she's doing. Somebody somewhere is probably looking to add her to their team. So you don't, this is a lesson that can be learned for all ages. You just never want to burn the bridges, or say too much or do too much. Just do what she did. She gracefully bowed out. She saw the situation for whatever she saw it for.
Yeah.
My assumptions is it wasn't good. Like I just think that she was going to be put in a position to where it was a lose lose. Like because once these numbers start coming out for this year, and I am I highly do believe that Xbox is probably going to have a really rough year this year with the sales of the hardware down with those prices. Nobody's buying Series X's, right?
Yeah, they're essentially not even producing them anymore.
Even Game Passes took a hit. They're almighty Game Pass, and Game Pass is crazy because I think if they would have left the price alone, they would have been fine because they have some amazing games on there. But is that the reason why the price went up? See, like the rabbit hole goes deep because I've been on my Game Pass I've been on it hard body this last month. Like it's really some good games on there, but
Well,
I just
and you know
lost the
what? And
business.
we could talk about Game Pass too, right? I think, because I posted this, for those of you guys that are interested, I posted this really interesting state of gaming inside of Discord. I would highly recommend anybody who's interested in just like
Good
numbers.
read.
I'm still going through it. It's like almost 200 pages that was put together by this really cool guy. And I don't think this is the final version, he says. This is just like the early access version, but that's neither here nor there. I always, once again, go back to Activision. Go back to that acquisition. Your company spends $69 billion on an acquisition. They're going to want their return on investment. Especially with the expense of gaming and how expensive that production is getting. Because let's just call a spade, right? Like Call of Duty was the major linchpin. That was the flagship IP for and it continues to be the flagship IP for Activision. Outside of maybe World of Warcraft, you could probably argue that, but I think that them doing that test run with, it wasn't Black Ops 7, I think it was Black Ops 6, that was day one Game Pass last year, and they saw the sales numbers take a hit for that. They being Microsoft leadership was probably looking at this like, hey, why are we doing this when we could instead change the model or change the look of Game Pass? Let's offer a truly premium service to our consumers, especially
Right.
with global consumer spending at all-time highs right now, not just in gaming. You have, and we've talked about this before, how everyone or every company is fighting for consumer eyes at this point. You have TikTok
Mhm.
and short form content. You have YouTube. You have mobile gaming, which doesn't get talked about enough, honestly. Even though that people spend the most money in mobile games, I
Oh no,
will
I
say
got a
that
game.
again. People spend the most money in mobile gaming. It's not even a close comparison at this point. Outside of like, and even like, I think you can play Roblox on your phone. Like, someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Roblox is a mobile game. Or you
Dude,
can.
I got a game that I'm hooked on right now. I'm just to show you how bad I'm hooked on this game. I am on level 510.
Wow.
I cannot stop playing this game. And
Yeah.
it's like I haven't spent any money. Well, I might have spent a total of like $14, something like that. Because the thing with mobile games is they nickel and dime you,
Hmm.
but they set up roadblocks to where it kind of forces you to kind of buy something sometimes. But because you always tell yourself, right? You're like, well, it's only $2. Eh,
I can
but
spend
if you
that.
get
It's
like,
$3.99. What's that?
yeah, like, oh, what's that? That's a sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a meal from Wendy's. That's some French toast sticks. There's a back joke to that
Oh,
though. I'll
Jesus
explain to
Christ.
that later.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, so I get I think I want to explore mobile gaming more and maybe have a side episode because it's worth talking about.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
mobile gaming, like hold on, I got it right here. No, where did it go? Let me show y'all, man. Let me show y'all for the video people here, bro. Look at that, man. Can you see it? My level.
Yeah, yeah, I can. Yeah, that's
I
insane.
can't stop playing this game. And then look at it. It's just so it's so simple. It's like a Tetris type game. Like you're
Yeah,
just matching stuff.
but yeah, that's my point, right? Like everything going forward for Xbox, they're looking at things as a platform, and this is a Microsoft initiative, right? You know, if you look at their content and services outside of Xbox, you have Office 365, you have all these things. You know, not I was about to say Claude, Jesus.
Cloud.
What's their
Cloud.
stupid what's their oh my god, what is their AI tool? Oh my gosh, Copilot.
Copilot.
They're also similar sounding, but Copilot, you know, is being turned essentially into a platform and a tool that you can integrate into services, right? That was funny enough, just a little sidebar. That was a big talking point because my job had a town hall yesterday, and they were talking about this. There was a lot of discourse about AI. A lot of people that agreed, a lot of people that disagreed. And I work in IT. For those of you who don't know, I work in tech. So this is something that I'm literally talking about this stuff all day, every day, even off the pod. And it's just interesting seeing different perspectives and how these tools are being utilized. And I know that a lot of people were initially afraid that Asha Sharma is going to push AI into gaming, you know, to a brand new level. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to start off by saying this, right? You know, there have already been reports from game studios within Microsoft that they are not being pressured to use AI tools.
Didn't she make a statement?
She did.
I think I had that in my notes.
Yes.
She made a statement saying that she wasn't trying to push that issue or
Yeah,
something along
I
those
have it
lines.
here. It says, as monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Those are her words, not mine. Games are
Mm.
and always will be art crafted by humans and created within the most innovative technology provided by us. End quote. That was her that was part of her blog.
As she laughs at us as she inserts AI anyway.
I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't see a reason not to at this point. You know, it's easy to sit here and be cynical, and I'm not saying that's you. I'm just saying like people in general.
Oh no, I'm
Like,
cynical.
it's easy to sit here and be cynical and just say, "Oh, well, Xbox is over. Oh, this is the end of." You know, we've been
Yeah.
talking
Oh no,
about
I'm not.
the quote unquote end of Xbox for almost the entire time this podcast has been around. Honestly,
Right.
but it's still here, and then the business model and gaming is still evolving and changing, and I think that the major difference I want people to focus on is where Xbox currently is and where they could possibly end up within the next 5 to 10 years. Because I don't imagine this is gonna be like she's like an intern or something. Like I feel like this is a purposeful pick. I feel like she was picked for a reason. To you know, I saw some people even saying that it's like, oh well, they just picked her. She's just a stand-in, a figurehead. I'm kind of in a little bit of a disagreement, and she's gonna have to prove me wrong. I will say that, innocent until proven guilty.
I was about to say that.
You
I was
know,
gonna say I don't trust her.
that's fair, and that's fine. That's as a consumer, right? That's important to say those things. You know,
Mhm.
I have hesitation with Xbox right now, especially when it comes to hardware, and this is something that she talked about as well. She even called it the return of Xbox. You know, she says here, quote, we will recommit to our core Xbox fan and players, those who have invested with us for the past 25 years. Remember, it's the 25th year anniversary for Xbox this year. And to the developers who build expansive universes and experiences that are embraced by players across the world. We will celebrate our roots with a renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with console, which has shaped who we are. It connects us to the players and fans who invest in Xbox and to the developers who build ambitious experiences for it. Gaming now lives across devices, not within the limits of any single piece of hardware. As we expand to PC, mobile, and cloud, Xbox should feel seamless, instant, and worthy of the communities we serve. We will break down barriers so developers can build once and reach players everywhere without compromise. That was her statement on like the hardware business of Xbox.
Too well written for me to like it. All right,
Very, very corporate speak.
Very corpo, man.
But I think this also says once again that Xbox knows they fucked up with the hardware. They have realized that this, like I said, this generation is pretty much over for them, in my opinion. You know, I know we talked about rumors of PlayStation 6 launching in 2028 and beyond. I think we get a sneak peek of the next generation Xbox this year, and I think it's going to happen over the summer. I do. I think that they have to do something to light the fire of loyalty to their community. You know what I mean? Because at this point, just like people like you who have the Xbox, the Series X, which I think is a good console. I think it's a very well put together console. It's extremely powerful. The features are cool, but I don't want to buy one. You know, for the people who don't want to buy one like myself, what are you going to do? How are you going to bring me back into the hardware ecosystem? Because I mostly game on PC, and like I said, the numbers support that. Like I said, I think it's mobile, PC, and then console in terms of revenue platforms for gaming. And Xbox knows that. You know, they're the ones that are pushing these changes forward to put their games everywhere. You know, and if this saves studios, you know, I've said this before, if this, you know, generates more money for the game industry, I don't think it's a bad thing to put your exclusive games to other platforms. But you run into the issue of, why do I need to buy your console if I can play it on PC, if I can play it on PlayStation, if I can play it on my phone? Why do I need an Xbox? And that's a hard question they're gonna have to answer. It's gonna be tough. So I don't know what your thoughts are about this particular piece, like the hardware and, you know, what they're potentially going to be doing.
I think Microsoft Studios they could be an intricate part in the comeback of Xbox. I think Microsoft Studio really need to focus on a exclusive banger. Maybe 2, maybe 3. They need to get, I do think exclusives are great promotional tools, and Microsoft has the money. This is not like PlayStation,
Right.
and that's not a jab at PlayStation. It's just a fact that Microsoft is sitting on trillions, and if they want their gaming studio to succeed, I mean, there's questions about that. I could have a whole nother episode about that, but I feel like that line, it's very hard to like balance, right? It's like, okay, we need to make more money, so we're gonna put our games everywhere. Maybe focus more on time exclusives. Like there has to be some kind of like
something,
gray
right?
area, right? Yeah, because in a way, exclusives do draw people to the system. So I get their motto of having it like everywhere, but maybe have start putting a year on your games. So that way, like if people want to play it, you know, because we live in this society where people got to have it first, they got to play it first. You know, you got streamer and content creators who, you know, if the game's big enough, they're going to want to play it first. So they're going to buy it. And hopefully the crowd of people or their following, you know, see them playing it, then they'll buy it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be rough, man. It's gonna 2026, and we said this last year. I think we said this during our yearly prediction episode. We said it was going to be a wild year, and this is just the beginning. Like this is February. This is what we're still in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And they shooken up
We're
the
in the
industry
second
already.
month of the year.
Second month of the year, and
It's
this
still
happened.
only February, yeah.
Xbox. And I have thoughts. Like I have thoughts about the young lady, Asha. Am I saying it correct?
Yeah. And if we mispronounce her name, chat, please let us know. But I believe her name is Asha Sharma.
I'm not a believer. I'm just, and this is not coming from a grifter trolley standpoint. It's just, it's too early to know, right?
Yeah, I agree.
After a couple of months, we revisit this topic and maybe do an update or something, and then I can tell you, because I can't even research her right now. Like, only thing I really found on her was like her LinkedIn info
Yeah, that's all
and stuff like that.
you'll essentially find, and I'll even go a little bit farther with that. I don't think we're gonna see the fallout, the results from this change. I think it's gonna take a couple years, honestly, because at this point, in my opinion, like I said, this generation is pretty much cooked for Xbox. In terms of hardware. I'm not gonna say the games or anything, but I agree with you. I think the first way to make a great step forward is the games that are coming out this year. You know, if they review well, if they're actually good, fun games. Fable has to hit. Gears has to hit. Halo, even though I won't be playing it, even though DC won't be playing it, has to hit. You know, that's
Hey,
how
you talking about the Halo that's coming out on what, PlayStation?
yeah, the remake, yeah, for Combat Evolved, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it comes out this year. It has to be good. You know, it's not for people like us who've played Halo for damn near a third of our lives at this point. But you know, they have to take those things, those first few small steps, and it has to go well, because honestly, like, I don't think hardware is going to solve the problem. Like, a new shiny Xbox isn't going to solve the problem. You know, people weren't disappointed at the news that PlayStation's not rushing to push out a PlayStation 6, and why would they at this point? You know, because you already have to worry about adoption rate of new consoles at this point because of backwards compatibility. And Microsoft, honestly, was the result of backwards compatibility, whether people want to admit it or not. We wouldn't have backwards compatibility without Microsoft. And whether that has fucked the industry in terms of hardware sales, that's another, we could spend another hour talking about that, to be quite honest. But these decisions have made us and put us to where we are at this point in the industry. And I don't know what the outcome of all this is going to be. You know, like I said, I wasn't expecting him. I was expecting him to step down at the end of the year after the new Xbox got announced. And he's like, and then this is it for me as we close the curtain on my era. And Sara Bond is the, you know, I'm sure in another multiverse she's taking over right now. But that's not the future that we're in, unfortunately. The timeline is split off into a different direction, which makes me sad.
Sara Bond went and got another job, bro.
Oh, she's 100% gonna either have
I'm gonna
one.
follow her. It ain't over, Sarah. I'm following you.
She's gonna have another job, bro. Like, I'm not even worried about that for her. She could stop working probably for a year or two, honestly, and probably even longer than that. You know, like, she could just take time. That's what a lot of executives do, right? They'll just take sabbaticals, and
it'd be crazy, like,
but
her and Phil get together, come out with a gaming studio. You never know with, like, because think about it.
That'd be interesting.
Phil's a real gamer, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped some kind of, like, had a little small indie studio and did some, like, little small indie game just for a hobby. Like,
imagine this how stupid I am.
You know what? That's my prediction.
Imagine he creates a studio, it does really well, and then Xbox acquires them.
Wow. That's not far-fetched. And guess who's back?
And then he walks in the door.
Right. He was like, "Hey guys, I'm back."
Oh my gosh, man. Imagine. That would be so funny. Yeah.
That's my prediction for Phil. I said it here first.
I can't wait.
Some kind of little small indie studio from Phil.
Yeah.
He can't stay away from games, bro. He can't.
Yeah.
It's in his blood.
Honestly,
he can't.
I cannot wait until he gives his first interview post retirement. We're gonna get one eventually. Might take a while. But I'm gonna be tuned in for that. I wanna know what he's gonna say. He's obviously not going to trash the company. For those of you who don't know how these things work, like DC said, like, there's never going to be a point where he just, you know, like I said, he spent 40 years at Xbox, man. Almost 40 years. That's crazy.
A whistle blowing, bro.
And he just blows the lid off of Xbox.
Yeah. You know what they was doing in there? Like,
Yeah.
we don't need another scandal, please.
The other gaming giants did backwards compatibility much better than Xbox did. I 100% disagree with you, Winnie. I disagree with you 1,000%. I think that they've caught up to where Xbox is now, but you're talking about older PlayStation. Like, look at where old PlayStation 2 games are right now. Look at where old PlayStation 1 games are right now. They're still hard to come by. If you're talking about in terms of like libraries, or you're talking about systems implemented, because there's certain old PlayStation 2 games I want to play that aren't on PS Plus, that aren't on the PlayStation Store, but you can find most Xbox games online through their backwards compatibility program, and you can play it in more places. I can't play God of War 2 on a handheld legally. I can ROM, sure. You can use a ROM, but in terms of system implementation, I disagree with you. Even people are mad about the Pokemon games that just dropped. The news about those, about Fire Red and Leaf Green, how you can't play them online and trade online, and they're charging $20 for these titles, which is fucking insane.
Because it's Nintendo.
Yeah, and you can't play them, I don't think, on the original Switch or something. Someone was saying, somebody fact check me on that, but it's like little stuff like that. In my opinion, I think Xbox just does better. It's fucking ridiculous. TJ, it's ridiculous. Like you have companies charging for nostalgia versus companies that
are taking
advantage. Yeah, they're giving it versus taking advantage of it. You know what I mean? That's just backwards compatibility is physical stuff. I disagree again. I don't think anymore. Nowadays, it's you got to include digital in that too. Nowadays, because physical. I mean it, and I see it from your perspective because you're somebody who collects games, and I love that you do that. Like, you're one of the few people that spend a lot of great time. Yeah, that we know that spend great time playing those games, right? That'll collect those games. You can't take an OG Xbox game and throw it into a 360. True. You can't do that shit with anything else either. You can't do it with Nintendo. You can't do it with PlayStation. You can't put a PlayStation 1 disc in a PS2, if I remember correctly, or a PS2 disc in a PS3 disc in a PS3 console. I don't think. Once again, somebody fact check me on that, but I don't believe so.
I kind of just wish that
you could. Oh, okay.
You just had to.
Sure.
Like, I'm look, salute to backwards compatible and all that stuff, but I just if I want to play old game, like, I just wish I had the old console. But I know
that's fair. Yeah,
that requires a TV that's actually going to hook up to it. Because, like, if you got an original NES or Nintendo,
yeah,
like, that shit's not going to hook up to none of these new TVs. Like, you're going to have to go get a TV with the booty in the back. And,
yeah.
that's because that's why, you know what? Because that's why,
Sure.
like you said, that's why, shout out to Weenie, one of our mods in Twitch chat. You guys should join us and have some fun. But Weenie has, like, a great collection of games. Like,
yeah. You do,
because I always say that once I'll get a house, I would probably do the same thing, but I got a long ways to go before we catch up with Weenie. But yeah, like, I just like to play. It's just weird because I like to play my games that way, like physically, like, instead of having a digital library.
And that's fair. I applaud you both for that, but in my opinion, I don't think it's realistic for everyone. It's it's
no doubt, because you gotta find these.
It's unfortunately very expensive. Yeah, I mean, even Winnie has told me about haggling prices for games, and I've gone to a couple of local bookstores here in Georgia and Atlanta area that I've seen, like, older consoles and stuff, and the prices from them are they're fucking insane. I mean, if I had the money to pay for that stuff, I'd be more than willing to.
But Weenie, I got a question too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shoot.
I got a question too. If you're open to this, I would love to, like, have a little. I want to see what he has. Like, I would love to take a tour.
Ooh, or have him on the podcast to talk about backwards compatibility.
Yeah, man.
I think that'd be great.
It's time to have Ween Dog. If you don't have to show your face.
If you're willing to, yeah, because you have a lot more invested knowledge into that. You know what I think? I think that would be cool. Yeah, to have you on to talk about it. If you want to share that
list in Discord, if you want to share that list in Discord, that would be great, because I'm curious I'm curious. I always been meaning to ask you about your collection as well. So
And places you recommend to buy from. I think that'll be cool. Because there are
yeah, well,
probably
we can give
people.
you your own little house in
Yeah,
Discord.
there's probably people who want to collect or or get started. I know I want to at some point. I know it's a little bit. It's for some people it's as simple as just buying things, but my brain works in a weird way with that. So, but to say all of that, I think that we're heading into uncharted territory for Xbox. Man, they can't have any. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I hit the burp. Sorry about that. This is either gonna be really great for Xbox or it's not. Or it's gonna go bad. It's gonna go really bad. And
So let me ask you this:
yes.
even though she said it,
Hmm.
do you believe it? Do you think? Because I'm thinking of we get a
I feel like
X pilot,
I
a
know what you're about to
cobot,
ask. Yeah.
a X. I just it's hard for me. Like I don't want to be pessimistic,
Yeah.
but companies do that. If we're realistically speaking, companies are always going to tell the consumer what they want to hear,
Yep.
and then they're going to do what they want to do. And I kind of want to believe in her because if we do the research on Copilot, Microsoft has pulled back a little bit on the
Yeah.
initiative of Copilot because they was trying to integrate it into everything, and for whatever reason, people wasn't jiving with it too much, so they kind of pulled back. So I don't see them trying to force it in the Xbox, but I feel like deep in my soul there's some kind of switcheroo at play here. There's something.
Are you asking about if I think she's going to give us AI slop? Is that what you're asking me?
Not necessarily AI slop, but will it be? Do you think there will be some kind of initiative to implement it into Microsoft Studios or whatever? Because when it comes down to it,
Uh huh.
the problem here is they're looking to recoup, like you said before, they're looking to make back a lot of money that they put into this industry, whether it's buy Call of Duty or
Yeah.
acquire all the studios that they've been buying for the last couple of years. They're looking to make that money back.
Right.
And Amy Hood, with her profit margins and what she wants to make and what they want to make as a whole, to produce these games at that clip, right? There will have to be some kind of, I don't want to say shortcut,
Hmm.
but I could see them kind of using AI to kind of speed the process up, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Since they're trying to
Yes,
make
I know
this money
exactly.
back.
I know exactly what you're saying, and it's funny because somebody brought this up yesterday in the town hall. So here's what I honest to God think these are my thoughts and opinions. Chat. This does not reflect anyone else's. I think that companies are starting to, and not just gaming companies. Companies as a whole are starting to come up for air from the deep waters of AI. And when I say that, I mean companies are realizing that entering a prompt into an AI does not solve all of their problems, and a lot of times it costs them more money. I think we're starting to get to that point in the tech AI. I don't want to say bubble, but the AI journey. We're starting to get to that point where companies are trying to be smarter about how they use AI versus throwing it at every single problem that they have within their company. Somebody brought up a good point. One of the system admins in the town hall yesterday brought up a good point, is that they feel like a lot of times companies are using AI to cover up for bad processes, bad business processes, bad development processes. So you could kind of look at it like that, where you have a company that has a problem and they had a way to solve it originally, but instead of looking at a way to improve that process to solve the problem, they just gave it to AI to solve. And that's the problem. And I think that's what's going to separate great companies from the ones who are just relying on AI and continuously spending money on it and spinning their wheels. So I think Microsoft is keenly aware of that. And if it does happen, it won't happen for a long time. but I don't think it will ever get to that point where AI is taking over and making most of the game, or just like we've talked about before. I think we'll get to a point where AI is essentially Google. It's a tool, or a tool in your tool belt to get your job done. It's gonna become that common for the average person to use. But until a lot of the bigger issues, the bigger problems with AI are fixed, like most, in my opinion, AI hallucination. For those of you guys who don't know what that is, essentially is it gives you an answer it thinks is right, but it's 100% wrong.
It's a lot of that too. People don't realize.
That's the
'Cause you
easiest
still
way
have
to
to
explain
fact
it.
check.
Yeah.
You still have to fact check these things, like Chat GBT, whatever it is, Meta, whatever. Like
100%.
you still have to fact check this shit, because it's not just because it's AI doesn't mean it's right. AI is basically pulling from all the resources that it has connections to on the internet. So if
Exactly.
you say a name or something, like if you say Sarah Bond, AI basically is just compiling a whole bunch of information, whatever it finds, from articles to pictures.
Or
It's just
even
pulling out.
internal company resources too. Like
Yeah.
AI has integration into a lot of once again, this kind of stuff that I see on the daily. It's like you have internal resources that AI can pull from, but it can still
hmm
be wrong on that too. How it interprets data and where it gets the data from are two very key points for the type of AI that people use now. And then on top of that, you got to think about agentic AI and how that's going to evolve from where we are now, using that same data set. They call it like a source of truth. I'm sure
Right.
you guys have heard me say that before in previous episodes. Like, if the source of truth is not 100% correct, the data set is contaminated or it's incorrect, AI won't necessarily know that it is. We're not at that point yet where AI can fact check itself. Essentially, you have to tell it to. I actually did that yesterday, where I was working on something for a client, trying to solve an issue, the tech issue they were having. I asked it a question, and it gave me a wrong answer, and I told it to fact check itself, and it did. It eventually spit out the right answer after more input, but if you don't have people that are willing to do that, or the wherewithal to, hey, I think this may be wrong, this doesn't sound right, like, you don't have everyone who uses AI isn't going to do that. So that's sorry for the long answer, but that's what I honestly think. I don't think.
No, I think it's important that you say that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because as we get further into the year and as AI continues to grow,
Yeah.
what is very important here is not to fear AI, but learn to use it.
Yeah.
Learn about AI. Don't run from it. Don't act like it's Terminator 2 busting through your door trying to kill you, because
Yeah.
companies are going to start looking at people who know, like just what you did, right?
Yes.
That's called like companies are going to start looking for people who know how to use and work.
They already
Yeah.
are. I'm gonna tell you right
Yeah.
now,
Oh yeah,
especially in
it's
tech.
happening at my job. It's
Yes.
happening. Yeah. Because for example, like I mean, I'm a graphic designer, so Adobe is my like that's my utility belt, right? That's my little Batman
Mhm.
utility belt. I have to know all these Adobe programs, and what Adobe is doing every other day, it's getting updated because it's pushing
Right.
new AI stuff into the Adobe suite, which is like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere for those who are familiar. And what I'm finding out is it's not something to fear. It's just making your job, like, to me, the more I learn, the more I feel like I can, one, you know, you could it makes things a lot easier if used properly,
Right.
because there's Photoshop like slop too, as I like to call it. Like people come in with like
Yeah.
these designs and stuff, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I could tell you used AI. Like
Hmm.
that shit looks atrocious. Like it looks bad, and they be thinking it looks so good, and I'm like, you just basically what AI did for you is just compile a whole bunch of photos and you just layered them. Like there's no soul in this shit. Like it
Yeah.
looks stupid,
There's no
but
there's no creative process behind it, and once again, you have a process at your job that you use to solve your clients' problems. you
Mm-hmm.
know, and you may use AI for certain things or certain mundane tasks. Because if you guys have never used Photoshop or Illustrator, there's a lot of mundane things you do in there to get the end result that you want that he probably takes out of his day and making himself a lot more efficient now, right? Like,
Also, they're they're integrating like AI into presets, which is insane. Because presets was
interesting.
already it was already a step to make things easier. So for people who are not familiar with Photoshop, I'll break it down. A preset in Photoshop, Illustrator, or any of the Adobe Suite programs is rules put together for something that you may do. Like say when you go in Photoshop and you want the background erased, right? Instead of going in there, pinning it out and doing all this, like with AI, you could just click on your presets, click on it instead of like taking a pen tool and highlighting the person and then you got to crop it out like that. You could
Mhm.
set up your presets to like basically click on it and then it'll do it for you. Like you don't have to do all the pinning and everything. And you could all the programs have presets to where you could set up to make your job easier. And these are the things that's going to come across the board with any job. Like
Yes.
using AI as a tool instead of thinking of it as it taking over your job or doing all the work for you, right?
Yes.
So I think it's very important that we put that out there. Now, obviously, yeah, there's going to be the bad side. There's going to be abuse of AI stuff like that, but hopefully regulations and stuff like that will counteract that. But as far as like Microsoft and what the future holds for them and their new leading lady,
Yeah. They got to prove it,
I'm
man.
gonna I'm gonna hold yeah, I'm gonna hold judgment. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
nice. Gonna be because she might get in and she might get in and do a banging ass job. Like
Yeah. True.
she might get in and do some shit and we like, oh, and we were like shit talking her and she might get in and
Yeah.
she might be what Xbox need to turn it all around. But we will see, and you'll get your news here. We will be here reporting every step of the way.
Yes. I'm definitely going to be
Asha,
keeping my eye on
watching
more
you, Asha.
blog posts and all the announcements, especially going
Oh, I already
forward.
wrote it on LinkedIn. I said you got to come up here. We're watching.
That'd be
Come up
actually
here.
pretty fire.
Come talk to us.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good place to end it, man. I know we're getting a little long in the tooth here on the episode, but there was a lot to talk about. And we still, honestly, I don't feel like we covered everything. But Xbox is on the clock now, man. They have now more than ever more to prove. You know, 25 years, 25th year anniversary this year. You know, what are y'all gonna do to win back the wider gaming community? What are y'all gonna do to convince people to buy your next set top box? You know, it's gonna be interesting. You know, and this is why I love what we do, because I don't know what's gonna happen, and I love it. I love that we don't know. So we're gonna find out all together though, which is
Industry is
great.
unpredictable.
It is, and that's why I love
Industry,
it.
like I told my brother, I tell him all the time. I was like, we talk about this stuff because the business side is just very unpredictable. Like we are lucky enough just to get the games, right?
Yeah.
We have fun just playing the games, but people go through hell
Mm-hmm.
making the games that we enjoy. So just kind of remember that, kind of be nice.
Be kind.
You know what I'm yeah, these people going through a lot and when your job is on the line or whatever the case may be, man, like hopefully everyone bounces back. I'm sure Phil and Sarah be fine. I
Yeah.
feel like Sarah
Oh,
has a plan.
yeah.
Phil already had an exit plan, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be like on a lake fishing somewhere playing games. He's going to have his little Xbox.
Phil woke up this morning in his drawers and is on Xbox right now, probably.
That should be the thumbnail. Just him in his drawers on the
Yeah,
toilet reading the
a
newspaper.
retired Phil. Yeah, that would be great. Actually, that's pretty funny. So
Yeah, as far as Sarah go, I truly believe that she has a plan as well.
yeah,
And even if she don't, she has the credentials to end up somewhere. Somebody's, she'll end up somewhere wherever, whatever God has planned for her, she'll
yeah.
bounce back too. So,
Everything happens for a reason. So
yes, sir.
gonna be interesting. But thank you guys for hanging out for episode 261 of the Super Weapon Podcast. We are only 2 months into the year, and there has been so much news coming out in the industry, which is just great. So, gives us plenty to talk about. We will talk about Blue Point Games next week. I did not forget, and trust me, we saw the news about PlayStation shutting them down. We're not absolving PlayStation of anything, so we
Yeah,
will
PlayStation.
we will be talking to you, PlayStation, next weekend. So
Yeah, you son of a bitch. You got
yes,
away.
please look forward to that, guys. You can find me everywhere, twitch.tv, or not just Twitch, but you can find me everywhere, Darius the Artist. Come hang out with us on Saturdays. Like I said, we're live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Darius the Artist. Check out our YouTube as well, Super Weapon YouTube. DC has once again been doing a great job, and me and him are working on reformatting some things in the background that we will be launching very, very soon. And we hope you guys enjoy that as well. And check out the Discord as well. You know, we're having a good time in there. A lot of people are having fun. Yes, Weenie, Blue Point Games does not exist anymore. You have to tune in next week to find out why. All right, guys. And I'm going to leave DC to take us home.
All right. Well, today was a nice, informative episode. We love to drop that Xbox exclusive heat. I'm dropping this episode today. Usually I wait to Monday, but I feel like this is just one of those hot topics where you want to just kind of catch it while it's hot. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to drop that bad boy today. We're going to also drop that Spotify. We've been getting views over there at Spotify, and I don't know who's listening, but thank you. If it's you guys, thanks. But the views kind of went back up now that we are posting again, and that makes me happy, man. That means that somebody enjoys listening to us, right? Well, I enjoy talking, but anyway, you guys can follow me. I'm not. I'm trying to take like a little Twitter break. I'm failing at it, but go to the Super Weapon Twitter. Don't go to my personal Twitter. I'm going to go on vacation. Go to the Super Weapon. We will post that link in the Discord. We'll post it in here because we're not going anywhere. I'm going to post that. And that's about it, guys. It's a little rainy, dreary Saturday, but we're going to play some games. We're going to get hype in here. We're going to play some games. So hopefully you guys stick around and enjoy our very top notch, top tier Apex gameplay.
All right, guys.
That's all we
Thank
got.
you guys for hanging out. That's the end of the audio version. We will catch you guys next time. See you later. Peace.